here. We're going to be installing the brand new Rhino-Rack backbone platform for the Chevy Colorado today. This is actually a replacement rack from some issues that I had with my previous leg mounted rack from Rhino-Rack, and they were generous enough to provide me a brand new rack and upgrade me to the backbone system. So over here we have the actual backbone system itself. It's actually the bottom of it right here. So it mounts on a truck this way, and this is the front, and this will be in the rain channel. And so these are supposed to be rivnuts through the top of the rain channel. However, as you can see, I have all my tools over here pretty much set up. We got everything they asked for, including some cold galvanizing compounds. It's in gray, but no one's going to be looking up there anyways. We went ahead and bought some additional hardware. This cost me about $30 from Ace. And so what we're going to be doing is, instead of applying the rivnuts, we're actually going to do a complete bolt through application. So either way works, but because we had the previous rack on there, a couple of the holes towards the back end of the cab come really close, and when we drill those out, they're actually going to combine, and the rivnut won't be able to seal properly. So we're going to go ahead and do a complete bolt through all the way around, and first we have to go inside the truck and drop the headliner. Hopefully that'll help show you guys how to take down the roof of the truck and have complete access to the inside. So let's go ahead and get started. First part of the process is to take down the headliner, like we discussed before. The first step is you can just pull this whole lining right out of the top of the cab. And I usually don't take it all the way down, but I just gently pull this out till around the bottom right there, and then about halfway down the side, because we need to eventually take this whole piece off, which just snaps into place. But now you can see that it's partially exposed right here. However, this piece is in the way, and there's another plastic piece in the back. So you can see that I've already taken out this tab right here. It just hangs down, and to get this bolt back in here, maybe not, is a 7mm socket. So you definitely need a 7mm, and it's not common. I went out and had to buy a new set the first time that I did this. So make sure you have a 7mm, a long or an extension to reach all the way back in there, because the normal socket without an extension, you're not going to be able to get in there unless you have you know, like socket head screwdrivers or something like that. So I'm gonna get this taken down, and we'll keep going from there. Alright guys, so the back is down. Well, these two side supporting panels are down, as you can see. So these just stay on the seat belt, and I just lay them off to the side. It does take a little bit of force, but don't worry, you're not gonna drastically break anything, or you shouldn't drastically break anything. You just gently but forcefully pull everything out. So from there, the next move that we have to do to get a little more leeway on the top right here is actually halfway undo the visor. So this part, as you can see, you can just slip off around this, and then there are some star like heads on the top of this that actually secure that to the top. And we won't be able to take the entire thing off, but we'll be able to get it down enough to have enough room to reach and play where we need to. And then this whole piece right here, literally we can just gently pull right out of place. And the only other thing we have to worry about is this band in there that you can see. resistance patches on the inside. So I'm going to go ahead and do that and then take it down, and we'll keep going. We'll start doing the prep work for drilling. We'll line everything up, we'll mark everything, and we'll actually drill. Alright guys, here we are, day 2. Yesterday I managed to get one of the rails secured and siliconed up and installed. Because I'm closely aligned to the holes in the back, I'm going with a full bolt through. So for that, I'm only going to go to the second size so that we can fit our M6 bolts right here. We're going to fit those through the top. I've gone to Ace Hardware, like I said, and I've bought a couple different longer ones, same M6, and then we have some nylon for the bottom. And so we'll drill those out. We'll put the butane patches. We'll line up the rack. We'll put a little bit of silicone in that hole so that when we bolt through, it'll catch all the threads and hopefully help waterproof the whole bolt. That's what I did on the driver's side, and so on the passenger side we'll do the same thing. So we'll get everything marked, we'll drill it out, and then we'll butane patch that are provided with the Rhino-Rack. We'll silicone, and then we'll do our bolt through application, and then after that it's done, and we just got to tidy everything up and put the rack on. So let's get to it. I've gone ahead and I've already taken down the headliner on the passenger side. One thing to note, that you also have to undo the handlebars in the back, which are 8mm bolts, I believe. And then for the passenger side, there's the grab handle that's on the passenger side, A-pillar right here. And to take those out, these 2 bolts right here are 10mm bolts. So you just take those out, and then it pretty much just pulls out and kind of upwards to unlatch it from these pieces right here, those ones right there, and it pretty much comes right out, and then you can pull everything down. And just in case I need to close the doors, I've kind of fitted the weather strip back in just in case it starts raining and I want to close up. I drilled out the old leg for the old rack. I left this hole open because on that side we the very last hole came pretty close, so I'm not going to silicone this up until we actually drill the last hole, and then we'll make sure everything's covered up. And you see I've gone ahead and marked the spots, and these ones right here I've gone ahead and punched out using just your standard punch, your center punch. This one's a 1/4 inch. Just line it up and hit it with a hammer a couple times, and there you go. You know, some people would be like, oh, well, you know, you're not using a stop bit. Okay, yes, the instructions call for a stop bit, but I have the fender, or not the fender, but the headliner pulled down, so it's not gonna like go down and go through the headliner. The most it's gonna do is maybe like nick the side of the channel, which I don't really mind. If it's really that deep, I'll just put some cool galvanizing paint over it and call it a day, because like no one's gonna be looking up there, and it really doesn't bother me. It doesn't affect anything besides keeping the paint pretty in an area that like literally no one's going to see anyways. So if you want to take the extra precaution, if you're not pulling down your headliner, like I have, if you're just going to do the rivnuts and not bother doing anything on the inside, I would highly suggest you follow the instructions and use a stop bit as instructed, because if you do happen to punch all the way down, you're probably going to go through your headliner, and that is something that you're going to see every day. There's a special note here. If you're going to do a bolt through application like what I'm doing, make sure that you don't follow the instructions exactly and end up drilling a 9mm hole at the end. If you use RhinoRack's instructions provided, they have you start small and then drill 3 holes. Well, drill 3 different sizes in the same hole. As you can see right here, measure, and then you start off with a 3mm or a 1/8, move to a 5mm 3/16, and a 9mm 3/8. And that is the correct size. That 9mm 3/8 is the correct size if you're going to use the rivnuts. So guys, we're done with the passenger side of the rack finally. You can see, maybe not, we did the bolt throughs, so that's all the way down, all 6 bolts. I don't know if you can see in there. The rack is coming Monday, so here in a couple days we're gonna have the final product installed. Hopefully that time-lapse video caught most of everything else we did, but check it out. Pretty sexy. Oh yeah. And there's Brian at Triumph Overland on Insta. Give him a follow. He might appreciate it, maybe not. All right, time to clean up. We gotta put all this headliner back up, secure all the sides, everything else, and see if it leaks.